The San Francisco 49ers are 5-2, tied with two other teams at the top of the NFC West through 7 games. Is Kyle Shanahan the coach of the year? And what should we expect from our old friend D'Amico Ryans and the Houston Texans next week? Stick around for all that and more after this. I'm Jason Aponte. That's Steph Sanchez. This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network, the only 49ers podcast that didn't hurt themselves on the last play of practice or the game. Steph, how's it going?
I'm good. I know we're going to get to it, but I had a rough week in fantasy football this week, so.
I was going to beat around the bush, but hey, since you brought it up. So, football, at times, you have to shake things up, right? When things are stagnant. When your team is doing the same thing over and over and you're not getting the results that you desire. I started thinking outside of the box this week because everything that I had tried hadn't really led me anywhere near, a victory or something like that. I tried this new strategy, and this is my strategy, by the way. Nobody patented it, and nobody think that you thought of it first. Most geniuses are labeled crazy before they are labeled a genius. But I started this new trend called zero quarterback. You don't start any quarterbacks, not in your super flex, not in your quarterback position, and you walk away with a win and still score 140 points. It's something that is brilliant outside the box. You wish you thought of it first, but zero quarterback strategy is something that I made up. You're welcome, folks.
In a super flex.
And look, a team was scrambling. We didn't know what we were going to do. Are we buyers or sellers? Well, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are coming back this week for me, baby, and it's it. We're moving in the right direction.
It was based on need that you had to go with that strategy.
Oh yeah, it was. I didn't have any quarterbacks to play. Like literally, I did the big brain thing and put Taysom Hill in the super flex, but I didn't have a quarterback to start because they were both on flex. That's what just makes it funny about fantasy football. And if you don't think that there's luck in fantasy football, that is it right there. But speaking of fantasy football, it's the sleeper app we're talking about. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance at 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick stats like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win really big. And for a limited time only, new users will get a free $20 entry. And don't forget, if you use promo code GSP, you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Love Sleeper. But yeah, that was our little fantasy football spiel for our Dynasty League. I had noticed that you needed like a 100-point game from like Jalen Noel or something like that.
Yeah, I did. That wasn't a good sign. I had a similar situation where my team already struggling with wide receivers. Like I don't have the best ones. And I had 2 wide receivers out. So I had to play Jalen Noel, who surprisingly did get me 11 points.
I have things that I have to say. And you know that you and I liked him. I have things that I need to say, but keep going.
What do you need to say?
I mean, the Houston Texans last night, it was like this epiphany that they all of a sudden got to. None of our guys can run routes. We're throwing the ball to Xavier Hutchinson. Braxton Berrios is on the field. Why don't we get Jalen Noel involved? Because he's actually really good at football. Crazy. And as soon as you do, it's too late in the game and he has 7 catches. Like, we'll talk about the Houston Texans. I've got many thoughts about them, but that was probably like, I know that I'm not an NFL coach. I know that Braxton Berrios shouldn't be on a football field. He should be handing out water bottles. Like, and you have him ahead of Jalen Noel? This is ridiculous. Anyway, we're here to talk about the San Francisco 49ers because they're 5-2 against all odds. And the title of this show is Time to Give Kyle Shanahan the respect he deserves. Is Kyle Shanahan the coach of the year? Yes, I think right now Kyle Shanahan is the coach of the year. I'm biased. I'm a big Kyle supporter. But name any other team that would be missing their backups, their starting quarterback, their 2 starting wide receivers, the best linebacker in football, a top 3 edge. Your defensive line is Jimmy's and Joe's, and a back end that has a bunch of first and second year players. Name any other team that would be 5-2. All of these other teams they'd be shot a bunch of bail being 1-6 Baltimore Ravens, or the Cincinnati Bengals, or any of these teams. This is Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job so far. In 2023, when they won a bunch of games, I could have coached that team aside from the play calling. Right? Everything was perfect. Nobody got hurt ever until the end of the season. They lost 3 games in the middle of the year, and then they lost a big one at the end of the year. But every other game they won. But this year, Kyle is doing something right now that is telling you 2 things. One, he hasn't lost his fastball. And two, if you think that this team and this culture and this locker room doesn't believe in what's going on here, yeah, you're definitely wrong. But Steph, I do think that this year, this is his best case for coach of the year right now.
I agree. And again, we're going to sound biased, right? Because we've always been on, the pro Kyle Shanahan spectrum in this 49ers fan base. A lot of people are on the other side of it, but those people look pretty freaking silly right now, don't they? And Richard Sherman, like, kind of went on about this in his podcast as well. And, I think he made some great points. I think for Kyle and what he's doing right now, what he's adjusting to, overcoming with this team right now, and still having them in a place where you're 5-2 and you're believing, like, this team is full of belief. They're not running out of any of it. They're not running out of gas. Like, it just doesn't look like a team that's ready to throw in the towel. And it hasn't all season, like, regardless of what has happened. So, for the Kyle Shanahan can't adjust crowd, we heard a lot about that with Kyle, right? He can't adjust this and that. Well, he went 6 weeks basically without a run game, 6 weeks without George Kittle, a week where your main wide receivers were, Ricky Pearsall, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's not even on the team anymore, Kendrick Bourne, and Sky Moore. 2 of those guys, weren't even on the team for training camp. That was week 3. They won that game. Another game where your main wide receivers were Kendrick Bourne, Demarcus Robinson, and VS. You won that one too. And while you don't have your QB1, right, available in just 2 of the 7 that they've played, your starting left guard gets hurt, since week 2, and you've been making it work with a 7th-round rookie at that spot, despite passing at the 13th highest rate through 7 weeks. That's an adjustment in itself, just the fact that, like, they've had to make it work without the run game, and that's a pretty huge adjustment when we're talking about a Kyle Shanahan-led offense here. And I think the biggest thing that we've seen in the last week, and I know for a fact that Kyle Shanahan had a large part in that, is keeping this team's head up after losing Fred and instilling belief in his young players. When he had that interview for NBC and, he kind of talked about, going to the team and showing them Fred Warner tape from his rookie season. I thought that was a really cool moment. And I think, like, sometimes we see, really cool clips of other coaches around the league, doing really cool things for their players. And we're like, that's a good coach. Like, and you always hear, like, people on the other side of the coin that are like, I wish Kyle Shanahan did cool stuff like this. And lo and behold, he's doing stuff like this. You're not always going to see it. You're not always going to hear about it. But these are the things that a really good head coach does. And for a team that's been as good as the 49ers have been for as long as they have been since he's been the head coach of this team, I mean, you have to have that. And culture is a big part of that as well. We're seeing a lot of that this year. There's a brotherhood in that locker room. We all saw how, losing Fred impacted and united all of them. And, it's clear that they're playing for him, but that's part of the culture in that locker room, that next man up mentality, that I got your back mentality. Like, it runs really deep in that team. And, it's a lot of it has to do with Kyle Shanahan, right? And so we've seen a lot of statement wins, character wins from this team. And yeah, I think he has a lot to do with it.
And this is what I was talking about at the end of that Tampa Bay game, and people were throwing weird stuff out like, oh, now we're counting moral victories. No, this team didn't go into the shitter. Pause, bleep it out. I'm sorry, Rob. they fought and they continue to fight and they believe. And every guy that comes in is more prepared than the next. And what I want to point to is this, and obviously this is defensively. Chase Lucas doesn't get a lot of snaps in his entire NFL career. Upton Stout's inactive. Boom, you step right in and you give one of the bigger quotes that I think really lets me know how locked in and prepared this team is. He talked about when Drake London goes in motion and goes to two, we know he's running an option route. So if you watch that play again, you watch Chase Lucas stand, wait, and when he sees Penix let the ball go, he knows what's coming. That's prepared. And that was a guy that maybe didn't even know he was going to start, right? During this game, Renardo Green leaves the game. And then what happens? Darrell Luter jumps in. He's ready to go. Like, this team is completely bought in, and there is no laying down for this team. It's not moral victory. It's you just lost your defensive leader. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to cry? Are you going to go home? And this team is not going to do any of that. I don't know what the future holds for this team, right, this season. But I know that they're not going to lay down in any of these games. And that's what matters more than anything. That means the culture is intact. I got a few other things I want to say. If Kyle Shanahan was to be let go today, 17 NFL teams would fire their coach to get Kyle Shanahan in there. Just want to let you know. And that's not my opinion. That's not my opinion either. That's not to be argued. Another thing. I get ready to learn Kyle Shanahan because if they make the playoffs again, which they will, he's going to be one of the longest tenured coaches for the San Francisco 49ers. Matt Mayoko said just about those same words, those same exact words. So get ready to learn Kyle Shanahan. Sit back and enjoy something that other teams are dying for. The New York Giants lost a game in which they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter. You don't think they would love a Kyle Shanahan in their building? You're watching the Miami Dolphins flounder. That's a good one. I didn't mean to do that. But you don't think they would like to have a Kyle Shanahan? The Arizona Cardinals are dog shit. You don't think they'd like to have a Kyle Shanahan? And don't give me just because he's better than other coaches means that he deserves, free reign and all that stuff. He deserves to be criticized. But just stop and think about all these other teams that would immediately Jazzy Jeff, their head coach, out of the building to get Kyle Shanahan in there. And yet, you want to move away from this guy that would be the number one target for all these teams moving forward. Come on, man. I know you're upset. He hasn't won the big one. It's him and a lot of other coaches. It seems like it's just Andy Reid and Philadelphia's coach Sirianni that have Super Bowls, right? And you have Sean McVay. All those other guys haven't won Super Bowls either. So everyone's trying their best to do what they can. You just got to understand what you're looking at and what you've got and this culture that has been built, and especially understanding where he picked this up in 2017 and how bad it was. And to be able to turn this around so quickly, you should be happy. You know how many fan bases would kill? The Jets are ready to get rid of Aaron Glenn. You can go up and down the line. There's probably 7 or 8 teams. I would even stretch it to maybe 10 to 12 teams who would stick with the situation that they have because they're building something. Shane Steichen would be one of them. I don't know if the Colts would immediately get rid of Shane Steichen because he's probably the person who would win Coach of the Year. So there's your answer, based on what they've been able to do. But all these other teams, man, they would probably move right away from all of these guys, right? Even Washington, right? You don't think that Washington wouldn't fire Dan Quinn for Kyle Shanahan? Adam Peters wouldn't even let him get out of the building. He wouldn't even let him get away from Washington. So, yeah, I just want everybody to understand that while you're frustrated that the 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl, we all are, it could be way worse. And he's a very good coach, and I think he's doing his best coaching job. And I think coordinator of the year has to be Robert Saleh as well, too. I'm sure that I'm missing somebody else. It might be the Colts defensive coordinator because the Colts defense is really good, too. But, yeah, this is their best coaching job. Whether they win Coach of the Year or Coordinator of the Year is one thing, but this is the best coaching job that Kyle Shanahan has done since he's been here, and it's in a year in which things were starting to pick up with the talk around him. So good for you, Kyle. And you're doing it, different ways against different teams. I got to drop back 50 times with Mac Jones? Cool. I got to drop back only 28 times and I'm going to run the football? Cool. Different game plans for different personnel. Kyle Shanahan's locked in right now, man. I'm really excited for him this season.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen a bit of an evolution from Kyle since he like first became the head coach, of course, which is expected. But like even as a play caller, I just feel like there's been a lot of evolvement, and the him being able to adjust, like that wasn't always easy. I don't think,
Mm.
and especially last year, like we've talked about it. Like last year was really rough, and it did seem like at times like just really couldn't find the answers at any point throughout that season. And I do feel like he learned from that, and you're seeing him apply things that he learned, and having to adjust without certain guys. And it was almost like he said to himself, never again. Like I'm if I'm missing one guy, I'm gonna find a way to run my offense or run my offense differently, to make it work. And that's what we're seeing so far, because I would have never imagined, like if you told me last year or even a couple years ago, that if the 49ers were doing as badly in the run game, that they'd still be able to win games, like and put up 20 plus points, like I wouldn't have imagined that. And especially when you think they're doing it with a backup quarterback. And I get it, it's Mac Jones, but like if you're gonna give the Colts credit for what they're doing with Daniel Jones, I mean, you got to give Kyle some credit for what he's able to do with the quarterbacks, the backup quarterbacks that come in here and almost seamlessly like fit the system. That's scheme fit and all things like that. He has a very particular taste in quarterbacks. But, the fact that these guys can come in and look so comfortable running the offense says a lot about what the offense is, and how it's been built through Kyle Shanahan. So, yeah, second in third down conversion rate, fifth in first downs per game, sixth in yards per game. Like, that's pretty impressive. That's my coach right there. That's my coach. And 3-0 in the NFC West. And you're contending with some pretty good teams, aside from the Cardinals, of course. And everyone says the 49ers have an easy schedule, and it's true. I get it, but like beating the Rams and the Seahawks have looked good every week since then. And I mean, those were like some pretty good wins right there. Again, we've seen statement and character wins from this team, and to be at the top of the NFC West right now feels pretty damn good.
Grace, thank you for the very generous donation. Just a 49ers fan. I love this team. Love Kyle Shanahan. Really appreciate that. Like that, is that a Labubu or is that a pop figure?
That looks like a Labubu, yeah.
It's a really nice picture as well too. But thank you for the generous donation. We really appreciate it. Look, desperate times call for desperate measures in certain ways, right? And the 49ers have what, 3 rushing touchdowns this season through 7 weeks. If I would have told you that earlier on in the season or to begin the season, you'd say this team is doomed. But I've got bad news. Granny is locked up in the cage until the 49ers can intercept a pass.
That's
Okay?
the next thing. The
This is
next
it.
thing on the checklist.
This is it. Are you going to do it this week or what? Because Granny's going to stay in that cage until it's time for you guys to actually come down with an interception. But when you think about the sum of the parts on the offense, right? You just got George Kittle back. You made us believe about Jake Tonjes, and then Jake Tonjes goes away because this is a run-centric thing. And there's a picture of Granny. I'm not playing. Like, 49ers, I know you're watching this. This is dire. We're not playing around. Like, she's not getting out of the cage until you get an interception. Kendrick Bourne was off the street. Marcus Valdez-Scantling was off the street. Obviously the thing with Ricky Pearsall, but like Juwan Jennings still isn't right. You have this backup quarterback that's in there and he's playing very well, right? It's too much, man, for all of these things. And when you look at it and contextualize all those things and then add it up to a 5-2 record, the 49ers still haven't played their best football, even though I think Sunday was their most complete football game for sure. But they still haven't played their best football. And if you get some people back, you start to become, again, what Kyle was talking about earlier in the year. You just become that team that nobody wants to face at the end of the year, right? And looking at the NFC, the Packers are in first place because they tied. The Eagles finally actually really threw the ball well. I was very impressed with them in that game. Jalen Hurts, You beat the allegations for 1 week. I'll give you that. Okay. Washington's cooked. Detroit is up and down. Like they look good in that game against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's banged up. It really feels like the heat and the competition is gonna come from Seattle and Los Angeles. Good news is you've already beaten them, and you're gonna play them one more time each. You already have a leg up in that division. So, everything that we're talking about going into week 8 to be 5-2, we said that the 49ers were probably going to be around that record, but we felt that it was going to happen a completely different way. Everybody's going to be healthy, and Pearsall's going to take a step, and this offense is going to carry this defense. We didn't think they were going to be 5-2 without Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, Brock Purdy. At times the offensive line struggling. We didn't think all of those things. That wasn't the set of circumstances. So either way, they don't ask. This is Andrew Pasquini's line, and I'm gonna steal it from him. They don't ask how; they ask how many. 5-2 is where you want to be, and that's all that really matters. And I think this is Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job. I wanted to talk to you about Sunday's game, though, Steph, because it's what I was talking about with Kyle being able to dictate the game plan based on personnel. The Atlanta Falcons are a fast defensive line. They've got speed everywhere. They rush the passer. So would it behoove Mac Jones to drop back 48 times against that defense? No. Now, what do? You realize that they have all that speed, so you don't run as much outside zone as you normally do. I'm not saying that they didn't. You change to gap scheme, and you realize that the Atlanta Falcons are light up front. That's why they're fast. They're fast because they're light, but they can't be out physical. And for the first time, the 49ers said, you know what? We're going to play, beat you to the spot, knock you down, gap scheme football. They were running the football. And what's funny is the first 2 drives, or I believe it was the first drive. The first drive, it started with what? A pass on first down. What happened? Sack. Mm-hmm. Then first down pass again. What happened? Big pressure. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're not going to put Mac Jones in a spot where he has to drop back and drop back and drop back against this team that wants to blitz and wants to get there. The way you back them off is by running the football and punishing them up front. And that's the 49ers team that we've grown to love when it comes to the physicalness and the edge. They finally look like that team, and that's more important, I think, than the overall rushing numbers itself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was really impressive. And I think also, you mentioned the Falcons defense being a little bit lighter, and also they were missing one of their first round rookies as well in this game. Jalen Walker, who's been pretty good for them. Also pass rush and run defense. And then Divine Diablo going out like pretty early in this game. I mean, it was hunting season for Kyle Shanahan after that.
Can I say one more thing, Steph? Right, and I'm going to cut you off. Rob, you're going to have to work overtime with the bleep button. The 49ers injury situation is so liberating, and here's why, Steph. I don't give a shit who's injured on your team. I don't care who left the game. I don't care who's not playing. Just go ahead, Steph. You got it.
I mean, I'm not going to, to that point, I'm not going to feel bad about who other teams are missing, but obviously that does open up opportunity for the 49ers, and, they definitely made the most of it as well. You mentioned, the blitzing that, the Falcons had done 44% of the time this season. But they didn't really get a chance to do that much in this game. And it just had to do with, the way that Kyle Shanahan was running the offense, and just the fact that the run game was working so well. Like there wasn't really a chance for the Falcons to pin their ears back and just, go after Mac. Which that was one of the main concerns of this game, right? Was like, how was Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan going to adjust to the blitz? And he's in trouble, right? He's going to get hit a bunch of times. And we just didn't see that as much. And the game plan worked out perfectly for the 49ers. And really on both sides of the ball, defensively, the number one goal was stopping Bijan Robinson first and foremost, which you say to yourself, we're not going to be able to do that. You're just going to limit him. He's going to get his, but maybe if we keep him under 100 yards or something like that. How's 40 yards? How's 40 rushing yards? That's pretty freaking impressive. Falcons had to go away from the run like pretty early in this game. And I think that just says a lot of how the 49ers were defending it. And so there goes that mentality of like, I got your back. Swarm. One guy would get to Bijan. Everyone was getting to Bijan within seconds, right? So it was just a true team effort, a true like coaching masterclass. I think from both sides of the ball. And yeah, man, I was really proud of just the way the team looked after that game, and even special teams looked pretty good, man. Like that's crazy. I think that's why
Best
you said it
best
was the most
best
complete game, right? Like
best unit of
best.
on the season. Best I don't want to hear it anymore. The special teams is clearly the best unit this season. Um
Kicker update.
that's just getting rickrolled
Anyway,
like that. Yeah. But you understand that this team is going to be aggressive, right? Like on defense. I'm talking about the Falcons. So you get the ball out quickly. You know they're throwing the ball fast. They're throwing screen passes. They're even running delayed draws. You're just using their aggression against them. But you can only do that when you're staying on schedule. This offense didn't fall behind the sticks. They didn't get down to 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 12 and obvious pass. Like they were able to run the football and they were able to control and dictate the tempo and the game plan. Defensively, obviously, the big thing is that we're not going to have Bryce Huff for 2 weeks. He was great in this game. Sammy O was great in this game. Even Jordan Elliott, shout out to him. Like the guy writes articles by day. He's rushing passers by night. But the one thing I have to say, and again, I don't really care that they didn't do this. I just came to me while I was watching the film today. I don't really understand the Falcons' game plan of not attacking the middle of the field at all with any crossers or any like just. It felt like Zach Robinson was just like, you know what, man? I don't want to throw any crossers over the middle of the field. I don't want to help Michael Penix in any way, even if he's not really good at that. Let's just like this game felt like they were pushed out of sorts to the point that they even forgot the things that have really helped them out. And the 49ers defense was prepared. I talked about what Chase Lucas said and about how they understood all the things that were going there. That familiarity between, Robinson is a chip off of Sean McVay's tree. They understand what they're trying to do there. And again, Michael Penix is not mobile. So if you're pressuring him, then that's it right there. So yes, this is the most complete game. Like picture a game where we're saying this is the most complete game. And Mac Jones didn't throw for one touchdown. He threw for one interception. And George Kittle didn't have a catch. Like, what? Like again, and this is another thing when we're talking about coaching. We'll win however you want us to win.
mm-hmm.
You need us to get back and forth in a shootout? Cool. You need us to win, go all the way down? Cool. You need us to run the ball and knock you off on your ass? Cool. This is what I'm talking about. Good teams find ways to win games. Bad teams find ways to lose them. And the 49ers right now are not playing like a bad team at all. And I did find it funny that the play that really ended the game was the third down catch to Christian McCaffrey. And I don't know if you saw, Kyle Shanahan said that he was trying to come off and try to tap out, and he said he just told him to get back in there, get back in there. And he was like as long as he's not hurt, he's not in there. But the Atlanta Falcons had 10 men on the field. Could you imagine a defense ever doing something like that, especially in a critical down like that? I mean, I couldn't. I wouldn't put up with that. Nah, not my. But yes, big win. On national television again. Every single time that people decide the 49ers are cooked, you're going to lose this game on national television is exactly when the 49ers bounce right back and they're like, nah, man, not us, and stop playing with us as well, too. And what you see on the screen for the audio listeners, George Kittle did not record a catch against the Falcons, but his impact was felt in the run game. Kittle on the field, 28 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1.4 average yards before contact. Kittle off the field, 6 carries, 12 yards, minus 2.1 average yards before contact. What's funny is Jake Tonjes had done so well catching the football, but this is how you know the game plan was just about run, run, run. It was just Luke Farrell and Kittle. That's it. Just Luke Farrell and Kittle, and that was it. Jake Tonjes, thank you, man. Maybe you'll be involved in a different game plan against different personnel, but not when it's literally beating this team up front with the gap scheme stuff. And Luke Farrell had his best game. No surprise that Luke Farrell actually played his best game after being so poor with George Kittle back on the field, right? Almost funny how that works,
I
huh?
feel like so many guys just stepped their game up in the run blocking with Kittle back. Is like they knew he was watching or something. I don't know, but it was like instantaneous in this game. Is everyone just snapped back into place with their run blocking?
Might as well talk about it because this is very much on the brain of 49ers fans. Jay Brendel has a hamstring injury. Matt Hennessy, come on down. Is this an upgrade, Steph Sanchez?
Well, it sure looked that way in the rest of this game in which he had to play. Now I do, I guess, have some cautious optimism on this just because I remember feeling similarly when Connor Colby, shout out to the Big 25, who says just don't start Brendel at center again. I'm sure a
That
lot of
don't is
49er fans
capitalized. That
exactly,
don't
yeah,
is capitalized for our
audio
audio
listeners.
listeners. Yeah, he really means it.
And a lot of 49er fans share this same sentiment. But when Connor Colby, for example, like filled in on spot duty for the rest of that game for Ben Barch in week 2, we were thinking the same thing. Like, oh, like he looks great. Following weeks, he did struggle, and of course, like he's a rookie after all. So I guess like I don't want to get too excited. I do think Connor Colby has improved as his weeks has gone on a little bit. He's still, all things considered. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I still think Ben Barch is getting his job back when he comes back. But for Matt Hennessy and how he looked in this game, the immediate thought is I don't think Jake Brendel gets his job back, but I think we got to see what this looks like in the coming weeks as well. The one thing is, Matt Hennessy's a veteran, so he has that experience already going for him, and I think it's good too that he already had experience with Mac Jones. Like we didn't see any bad snaps or any timing miscommunication things at all. So I think that was kind of seamless for both of them to, go into this game together. And in the following weeks, we assume that Mac Jones is going to start this upcoming game as well. So, that I think that bodes well for Matt Hennessy to see what he has in the spot. And if he does ultimately look better, that being said, like anytime Kyle Shanahan talks about Jake Brendel and even Chris Forster, like they're just beaming. Like they love Jake Brendel, and don't ask us why. But I mean, like I get it. He has a lot of responsibility. Like you appreciate what he does. I'm just assuming this is how they feel about him or why they feel this way about him. But I feel like they exaggerated just a smudge, just a bit.
I think everyone strives for that type of job security. Rob, I know you're listening. Please think that same way about me, and I'm trying to do my best. You help me feed my family, so I need you to feel the way that Kyle Shanahan feels about Jake Brendel. One other thing that I want to point out, this is a Virus podcast. We always say this all the time. Do not discount the fact that the Kill Bill music was going off in Matt Hennessy's head, seeing the Atlanta Falcons on the other side and wanting to get revenge.
Yeah.
Revenge always over everything. And there it is, filthy casual. He's picking up what I'm putting down. That was Hennessy's revenge game. He used to be the Falcons starting center. He was a very good starting center before the injury. Now, again, next man up. I didn't know I was playing today. I'm gonna get in there and I'm going right at it, right? Again, Darrell Luter didn't know he was gonna be playing that day. He went in, he made an impact in the run game and helped, bottle up Bijan Robinson. Matt Hennessy doesn't know that he's going to play. He gets in there and we all start getting to the debating. I mean, people wanted to see Matt Hennessy anyway, but this is not going to help, it's not going to help calm any of that down. Matt Hennessy's hive is buzzing right now. But this is, again, it just speaks to our team and it speaks to how they're playing and how everyone is ready to go and they're all prepared at a moment's notice. Offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, doesn't matter. Tatum Batum has been great. In 2 straight games, like he's obviously not replacing Fred Warner, but he's been great. You're just watching a team that's all completely bought in. Is it good coaching? Of course. Are they put in better spots? Absolutely. Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan are doing a great job. Just so proud of this team after that one, because everybody, again, was just ready to write them off. And, it's going to be a long time for the people that want Kyle gone, man. I mean, you better just buckle up and learn Kyle Shanahan, pal, because he's not going anywhere for a minute. So Anyway, 49ers win. We'll wrap that up. We got to watch the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football. America lost. I think, especially us East Coast people.
Yeah, what time did that game end for you?
1:30.
Okay.
1:30. Yeah.
I
Now
went to sleep.
to be fair, I wouldn't have been sleeping anyway. So there's that. But you watch that game, and in the beginning, it looks like Seattle's about to run away with this thing. And Sam Darnold at Jackson Smith and Jigba is playing like the best wide receiver in football right now. He is completely unguardable. It doesn't matter. Like that's when you know somebody is really, really hooping. Is I'm on the field to catch passes and chew bubblegum. I'm all out of bubblegum. Everyone knows that the ball's going to you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the Texans defense is great. Is great. Maybe the best in the league. Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie, Bullock, Daniil Hunter, Autry, Aziz Al-Shire. These are name brand players. Like, they're lit. But that offense is awful. And a few things. Nico Collins, concussion. Short week. Flying over. Might not be able to play. Christian Kirk already dealing with a hamstring injury. The Texans might be down to Jalen Noel, who you and I really liked in the draft process. Jaden Higgins, who, again, they're just like, hey, we drafted this guy. He's really good. Let's just not throw him the football. Let's throw it to Braxton Berrios and Xavier Hutchinson, Dalton Schultz, and Woody Marks, Nick Chubb. But there's a few things about this Houston offense that I've noticed, and we've got 7 weeks of a sample size. The line's bad. The play caller's bad. CJ Stroud has completely regressed. All 3 of those things are true. All 3 of those things are true. Now, does one have a cascading effect on the other? I don't know. Yes, it does. But you know how many quarterbacks have had bad offensive lines and bad play callers and never looked that bad? There is a sample size right now, and you're not going to believe this number. And I want to make sure I get it right. I want to make sure I get this stat right because you might not believe it yourself. The last 17 starts. I'm gonna list the numbers, and then I'll tell you the names. The last 17 starts. 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 87 passer rating. 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 83.9 passer rating. One of them is CJ Stroud. Which one is it, Steph?
For this season?
What the last 17 starts?
Oh, it's that last 17. I'd say the second one.
Yeah, 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 83.9 passer rating. That's CJ Stroud. The first guy, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 87 passer rating. Bryce Young. Listen to me.
Expected that.
Bryce Young is in a poor situation as well too. Canales is good. I think he's a good play caller. Actually, he's helped revive Baker Mayfield. But they don't really got weapons, and they have a poor offensive line. Like, I know that he's not getting much help, but he's not helping. And I guess where I'm going with this, Steph, is the crowning of CJ Stroud as football Jesus after a season. And we've seen this how many times? Over and over. Oh man, I'll take this guy over this guy. And like I had some idiot at a bar tell me that he'd take CJ Stroud after that first year over Lamar Jackson. Like, I just want you guys to stop. Yeah, right. So Jaden Daniels is struggling this year. I guess he needs help. Why is it that, what's the hardest thing in the NFL to do? Is to put together a full season. The second hardest thing to do is to do it again. And CJ Stroud is struggling right now, man. And I guess I'm pointing this out not because I'm trying to make this about Brock Purdy, but more about, like, the people that were using CJ Stroud as, like, this barometer of, like, oh, I'd take him in a minute over, like, relax, man. He might not be that good. You're good.
Okay. I thought it was like one of those dramatic pauses for you, which I appreciate. I do, listen intently when there's a dramatic pause with you. But, to go back to the Texans defense being good, right? They are. I mean, D'Amico Ryan's a hell of a coach. We know that. For the defensive side, they got some dudes there. But they're 2-4. And the reason that they're 2-4, make no mistake about it, is their offense, because their offense is not doing them any favors. We're talking about complimentary football earlier. They are not doing that right now. They're doing quite the opposite. and it in turn eventually hurts their defense, because they're having to be on the field for as long as they are, and not able to stop offenses after a while. So and the Texans turning it over as well, not helping. So I like this game for the 49ers. Like you said, short week for them. Nico Collins, that's a huge one. That's a huge one because actually, like he was finding some footing, or the offense was starting to find some footing because they were moving the ball through him basically, and as they should. I mean, he's that talented. To your point, like they hadn't really used the two rookies that they drafted as much, which a bit of a head scratcher, right? But they started to against Seattle, so I would expect that to continue against the 49ers as well. But I feel okay with what the 49ers have done with the secondary so far. I mean, you got guys coming in, Darrell Luter, Chase Lucas coming in and being able to, clamp the Falcons, in that game pretty well. So I feel good about it. I think this sets up perfectly for the 49ers to have some success. That being said, like, yes, I do expect that, they'll have some struggles moving the ball, possibly on defense, especially, from the running standpoint, right? We saw the 49ers had a lot of success against the Falcons. Like, do we expect that we're going to see the same type of performance against this Texans defense? Personally, I don't. It's going to be it'll be a little harder,
Yeah, you're not going to be able to run gap. You're not going to be able to run gap against Houston like that. You're not. They're too big up front.
So it'll be interesting, like, as we talk about, Kyle Shanahan and all the different adjustments, right? Okay, now you have George Kittle back. What adjustment do you make in particular for this Texans defense that you're going to be going up against, and that personnel? You're familiar with this defense and what DeMeco Ryans wants to do. You're even familiar with some of the players that he has. So we'll see what advantage, if any, that gives the 49ers in this game. On the other hand, DeMeco Ryans knows what Kyle Shanahan wants to do, right? So in that sense, it'll be a good battle. But I just feel like there's more things that favors the 49ers in this one for sure. And it does ultimately come back to the way Robert Saleh has his defense playing, even with Bryce Huff, being out for a couple weeks. I do expect this defensive line can still get after Stroud, still force him into mistakes.
I agree.
How this feels like it could be a week where we get that interception and let Grammy at the cage, Jay. That, like, it has to be this week, right?
She's staying until it's done.
Until it's done.
I put a big lock on there.
It would be funny if, like, Tatum Bethune gets a pick because, we were saying, like, Fred was so close, like, so many times to getting the pick.
Chase Lucas almost had it.
He did. And so we'll see who gets it. But I feel like this one's shaping up to be, I don't even want to say get right week. Like, what get right? The 49ers are right now. Yeah. But it'll just be a momentum building, game for them, I think.
Yeah, if you're looking at the 2 weeks that you're not going to have Bryce Huff, this could be one of those weeks where I'm not going to say you don't have, you don't feel his loss. The Houston Texans line is what some people think that the San Francisco 49ers line is, worst in the league. Like, that bad. They're going to be able to get after CJ Stroud, and he looks shell-shocked. He just looks shell-shocked. He's not seeing the field. Guys are wide open. He's turning it down. He's, missing throws. He's airmailing it. He's throwing it. He's shell-shocked right now. And that has to do with the offensive line. It has to do with the play calling. But it also has to do with his own regression. Again, plenty of quarterbacks have had bad play callers. Plenty of quarterbacks have had bad offensive lines. Plenty of quarterbacks haven't played that bad. And that's just what he's doing right now. And I think it's not going to be 22 pressures like it was with Atlanta because Bryce Huff was a menace. But Sammy O's going to have a big game this week. And if Alfred Collins continues to go and Michael, like, this offensive line is, I don't want to sugarcoat it, awful. Like, bottom of the league. That bad. So, I just, that part is where the 49ers have the advantage. Offensively, while we said, hey, listen, look at them getting away from outside zone, the gap scheme, you're going to have a far harder time bullying that Houston defensive line. I just want to make sure that we get that, very clear. Do you mix in a little bit more outside zone? Because like I said, the fact that they didn't go away from outside zone. They still ran that. They didn't run it as much, and it was an emphasis to let the Falcons know we're gonna kick your ass all day today. Like this is what the message we're sending you is that we're gonna keep doing this inside and we're gonna run gap. But Houston doesn't have holes on their defense. And that's the hard part, right? Stingley and Petrie, I loved Petrie, Bullock, and they've got so many good guys. And right now, they look great on defense. But them being a point and a half underdog, I get it's because it's on the road in Houston. Come on, man. That Houston's offense, you're talking about this offense wasn't even able to function when Nico Collins and all these guys were on the field. Now they're not going to be there, and they still have that offensive line, and C.J. Stroud is looking the way that he is. I guess I'll just say that this is all lining up for watch Houston put it all together and just have a great game this week. But I'd be very shocked if the Houston Texans offense went out there and put it together because they haven't put it together at all. So, yeah, I don't know.
And no run game from the Texans
None.
either.
None. Nick Chubb in the Big 2025, not a factor. Woody Marks, yeah.
They're one-dimensional by default, and that one dimension is not is not good. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, revenge game, D'Amico Ryans. It's good to see you, Aziz Al-Shire, but Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Danico Autry, oh my God, man, those are some dudes, man, and they're good. They have great players. Their defense is number 1 in DVOA, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's not why they're losing. They just can't score points. And the games that they have won, they beat the JV Ravens team. And I forget the game before that they won, but they literally were beating up on Cooper Rush and nobody in that game. Seattle looked good, but also to this point, Seattle didn't really blow me away. Because that game should have been put away way earlier. It felt like every single time Seattle had a chance to put that game away, Houston's defense said, "Here, CJ Stroud, we got you the ball back. You might have a chance of scoring again." And he was just like, "Nah, I don't really want to. I don't really feel like it. You know what? Or the play caller was like, "Hey, we need a yard or two. No QB sneak. Hey, let's try and run the football since we haven't been able to run it all season." The Seahawks didn't exactly. I was waiting for this game to end with a 27 to 3 score. They looked all right.
Well, Seattle is missing a couple guys still in that secondary, right? So
they're good, and they are very good. I think defensively wasn't their issue, right? That wasn't their issue in this game. In the beginning, it started Sam Darnold was throwing the football well, and then he threw one of those Sam Darnold picks, and then I don't know what the hell they're doing with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, but thank God because I started Zach Charbonnet. Yeah, thank God I started Zach Charbonnet in I have him in our league or whatever. He's like a touchdown poacher. But that game they should have, for all intents and purposes, run away with it. They should have run away with it, and they should have won that game by far more. The Texans defense kept giving them a shot and kept putting them back in the game. So, Steph, any thoughts about anything across the league that you saw that is, maybe has to do with the 49ers, something that you think is interesting? The New York Giants are after the Houston Texans. They're an interesting bunch. Russell Wilson called out Sean Payton today on Twitter. I thought that was really cool because
we got spicy Russ.
Listen, I hate Sean Payton and I hate Russell Wilson, but I certainly hate Sean Payton more than I hate Russell Wilson. And to see Russell Wilson cook Sean Payton, the girls are fighting, and I was there for it.
Fighting, yeah, that was a crazy comment from Sean Payton, a clear shot at Russ, and it's just okay, for what? This feels a little random. So yeah, to see Russ get a little spicy, that was okay. Show us something. But as far as other things happening throughout the league, obviously there's still trade talk going on, and Rob in the private chat, did tell us that the Raiders, Tom Pelissero said the Raiders met with Max Crosby, let him know they're not shopping him, won't trade him. So,
no, you don't.
I know. I was
say.
I think we knew this already.
Rob, turn it off. Season's over. Turn it off. Season's over, man.
Same with the Trey Hendrickson. It's we know already, Bengals are not trying to trade him. Okay, we get it. Please just stop reporting this. We know already. And then, it seems like Dolphins getting calls about their guys, the defensive line. I'd like
Jalen
Bradley
Phillips,
Chubb.
please.
I feel like the contract situation for Chubb makes most sense for the 49ers just because he's under contract for a little longer than Jalen Phillips, who would, still on his rookie contract, which is good. But based on everything Kyle keeps saying about what they're looking for in a trade, it's like he wants someone who isn't just a rental. At least that's the sense I get from Kyle. I don't know how much of a hand he has in the choice here, because John Lynch seems to be a little more open minded. Like he doesn't seem to be as closed off on what they're looking for, but we'll see. I do think they're still looking for someone. Whether or not they do actually bring someone in, I guess, is the question. Because again, it seems like they're just looking for something specific, but hopefully they can make some work, especially like in these next 2 weeks that Bryce Huff is going to be out. Like you need some pass rush. It was great to see Bryce Huff, last week, really dominate, from the pass rushing standpoint, and it probably his best game since he's been in the Niners. So, now tough to be without him for a couple weeks when you're already struggling to get something going. But those guys in the interior are doing a lot to create disruption as well. You just need someone who can finish the job, basically. So, yeah, they need a body. They need an extra body, especially Yetur Gross-Matos still has been missing time as well. So you need someone. So we'll see what happens there. And then
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna segue. So if you had something to say about the
No, I did. It's funny because of all the injuries, it's like we're like this Yetur Gross-Matos one is really hurting this team like really bad, and that's something I never would have thought I would have envisioned myself saying.
He's
like
looked good.
No, he's been great. Like
Yeah.
whenever he's been on the field, he's been great.
Yeah.
And one other name I want to throw out there is, again, anybody that has had lunch with Robert Saleh, had a cup of coffee with him, has to be on there. Jermaine Johnson has to be somebody that you looked at. I had a chance to talk with him in Vegas during that draft when I covered it, and his main focus when he was there was, I can't wait to get in with Robert Saleh. I'll find the clip, so I can repost it. But he was very excited to join Saleh. Again, a lot of those guys, when Saleh was fired, they didn't want that. So, I think that's a logical young target as well too. And, in this defense, in this culture, strange things happen when teams get away from shitty organization, when guys get away from shitty organizations, right? Like all of a sudden when you get away from the New York Jets, you remember how to play football, or you have a renewed vigor to play football, right? Like and that you're playing for something different. So, Jermaine Johnson is somebody that you gotta keep an eye on. Obviously, everybody would like to get like Will McDonald, something like that. I don't know if the Jets are ready to move off of him. Maybe, I'd love that, but yeah, I mean, I still think that you have to keep shooting, like when you're talking about your vision or like for who it's going to be, that it may not be someone high up. It may be, again, Arden Key, Miles Murphy, like those type of guys, again. But if Bryce Huff is out for only 2 weeks and, you get Gross-Matos back and you add one of these rushers, I know we keep saying this, if they get a little bit healthier, they could look all right. So I think, again, these next 2 weeks are going to be fact-finding. The trade deadline is right after the Jets game, November 4th. So I mean the Giants game. So I think they'll still do the fact finding that they need to to figure this out and probably play it down to the wire. And one more thing before I let you segue into whatever it is that you wanted to say, Steph. Thanks a lot again, Joe Flacco, for ruining the 49ers season. Like, I'm so tired of you, dude. Like, what is your problem? Like you go out there and you wanna match arms with that other 40-year-old guy just to make sure that the 49ers don't have a chance to get Trey Hendrickson now? Like, what did we ever do to you, dude? Just go home, Gramps. We get it, man. But Steph, you got it.
The Unk Bowl. You enjoyed that? The Unk Bowl?
The Unk Bowl. Yeah, the Unction.
The Unction Bowl. Yeah, so one more thing I was just gonna say is that if the 49ers do happen to go with a lesser known, trade, let's not scoff at it until we see what it looks like. Because I remember a time where Yetur Gross-Matos was that random trade, and we're just like, Key. I guess, yeah, and
Arden Key and O'Menahue,
like, I guess, like, we'll see.
I mean, it helped because Nick Bosa was there, but I get what you're saying because it's absolutely true, right? Like, you're automatically looking for a name, and when it's not the name, you're just like, oh, this is awful. So
yeah, coaching, scheme fit, opportunity, like when all those things mesh together, like you can make something happen. So, and the 49ers generally like kind of know what they're looking for. So that's a good thing. No, the one thing I was going to say is Dre Greenlaw never change, man. Like what a nutcase that Dre Greenlaw continues to be.
Dude.
Man, his first game back too.
You know how mad I'd be if I was the Denver Broncos right now?
Bro.
Your first game, you've been hurt. You've been hurt. You come back, we're excited to have you back, and now you're out again because you wanted to try to murder a ref. Are you like, what is going through your brain, dude? Like, seriously. Like, if I was Sean Payton, I'd suspend him another game because it's just like, how dumb can you be, dude? That video's insane. His team is celebrating scoring they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. They had a walk-off, and the guy is running after a ref, and the ref throws a flag. There's no time on the clock. You want to kill the ref? Dude, celebrate with your team, man. Oh, what are you on, gang? Holy shit. Sorry, man. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm too many curses.
The CTE running through his brain.
Well, look, since we're doing former 49ers, Ray McLeod, how you get fired on your day off?
Look, I didn't. So when he was sent home, right? I was like, I didn't want to speculate. I was just like, I don't know if it's like they said personal. We didn't know the details. I was just like, I if it's something serious or something like family, I didn't want to talk about it. You know, I was just like, oh, that's too bad. I hope everything's okay. What's funny is Lenore immediately like just started taking shots, but it was because Ray McLeod like was kind of taking shots too, and you know how
handle
Lenore
that.
Gets handle
that. I see Jason. I'm laughing at Jason P's comment. If you could put it up on the screen, and we're almost done here. Shout out to all you guys. You should be in the training room getting healthy, Ricky, not podcasting, even though you're killing it. That's Jason P saying that I look like Ricky Pearsall. This joke just doesn't end really, more than anything. But
Jay, next week is our like Halloween episode. Yeah, like are we doing our costumes?
Oh, so you want me to dress like Ricky Pearsall?
That's what the people want.
So Steph, you kind of want to let the cat out of the bag, or because that is right before the Giants game. That's 2 days before the Giants game.
Okay.
No.
I'm
Halloween. Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm talking about our
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, the 28th will be our Halloween episode.
Got it. So
we gotta have a costume.
I've got it. So all right, I guess I'll ask the chat and I'll ask you, Steph. Do I just get the Ricky Pearsall jersey, or do I get like a swagged out outfit that looks like Ricky Pearsall?
From Temu. Get a Temu.
No. But I mean, but do I get like a Ricky Pearsall like fit? Like, do I get a Ricky Pearsall fit off?
You gotta have like a jersey at least, even if it's like a little, with duct tape or something.
What if I buy a Deebo Samuel #1 jersey and and all you see is the number one?
No one will see the back.
Right, because like it's the same thing I did with
King.
It's the same thing that I did with my Jimmy Garoppolo jersey. I just put Jones over it. Well, for a little while I had Zane Gonzalez over it too. So, yeah. Rob does have a 14. That's a Darnold one, right? He does have a 14 jersey. All right. So we'll brainstorm that, and maybe I'll just come in with a Ricky Pearsall fit. I'll probably have a haircut that week because that is Giants week, and everybody's gonna be in town. Is Steph Sanchez gonna be in town? Is that what the streets are saying?
Could be. I gotta buy my flight still, but that's the plan. We're living very impulsively right now, so I think that's gonna be the move.
Oh my God, man! You're coming at the perfect time. Friday is Halloween, the 31st. Saturday is the invasion in the city and John Chapman's party. Sunday's the game. I mean, it's just an electric time this weekend. That weekend, coming down. And it's a few days before my birthday, so I figure we'll all just do it all in one. And we'll just do it all in one weekend. Steph, make sure you listen. Come to play. Make sure that you're locked in and you're focused because it's gonna be a long weekend. I'll tell you that.
All right. I mean, if it's anything like Combine Week.
Oh man, we're gonna make Combine Week look like the Senior Bowl.
Wow.
And maybe Rob Stats Guerrera as well too, out partying because you know how much he loves watching college football.
Rob, where you at?
Rob, where you at? Just jump in. You might as well just jump in now and just go ahead. Just go ahead. Go for it. Go for it.
Why would I waste my time watching college football? Do you watch a lot of minor league baseball, Jay? Because I don't. I like to watch.
They don't televise minor league baseball. Come off it.
I like to watch professional sports at the highest level. I don't want to watch Joe Schmo from Directional University. Okay. What a giant waste. College football only exists to find like the 6 good players that are in it that can actually get to the NFL. Give me a break.
Why is he kind of cooking though?
No, I mean, but the thing is, it's just of all the things, like it's so funny with Rob, like, because we have our group chat and we talk and everything, and it'll be like the most random thing that, like, I was just like, hey, if you guys come on Saturday, because, my hometown Hoboken is a college town, and what I mean by that is it's not college students, it's people who go to the bars and they watch, they may be 37 years old, but they went to Penn State. They may be 38 years old, but they went to Bama. They went to all these schools, and they're there and they're lit. And Rob's like, I hate college football, man. And I'm just like, geez. I'm like, what the hell was that about? Like, it's just funny what he's so against, for some reason.
So random, always.
Yeah.
And so unprompted, like, such strong feelings.
Yeah.
We love
the best part is when, because I don't watch college during the season very much, because I made a promise, like, I have to be a father on the weekends, otherwise, because I'm useless on Sundays. But I only watch like after the season's over, and then I can like finally like dive into the tape and everything. But the rule is it doesn't matter how much you've watched. Any 49er that's drafted, he's him and he's next. And or you don't have to watch the tape and you don't have to do anything when it comes to that. If the 49ers drafted him, it's that person's season loading, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Always.
Except Jake Moody. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Bully Ball on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Shout out to all you guys for joining us today on Tuesday evening. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Make sure you are subscribed to the Gold Standard Podcast Network wherever you get your audio podcasts. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K. Follow me on Twitter at JasonAponte2103. Make sure you follow our YouTube channels as well too. We have a bunch of good content on there. Steph, it was great talking with you, especially after a win like this. Let's see what happens with this Houston game. It's going to be a tougher matchup just because of the defense, but I do believe the 49ers win this week. I've got good news for 49ers fans. I'm picking them again. And with my record of 5-2, why wouldn't I? Because I pick them every single week.
Hey, 5-2 is a good record.
It's better than some sports bettors will give you. So for Steph, for Jay, we're out here.
Peace.